So who's stronger, a Jedi or a Sith? Hmm. I have no idea. It seems like simple enough, right? Light side should be kind of make sense for the good guy to win. It seems like in movies they always win. Kind of common sense, right? Like that's the way it is. But if you dive in, if you really kind of dive into it and start to kind of analyze the skills and like the knowledge of the force and like all these books, it's a lot more difficult than that. Um, so like with the with the Jedi, so who's the Jedi? He was a devotee to the ways of the Jedi Order, an ancient order of protectors united by the ability to harness power of the Force. Okay, there's too much to read, but don't want to do that. But basically, they served the Jedi Order and they followed the light side of the Force. So that's pretty basic. Uh, they basically use the Force for the unselfish reasons, and with the Sith, ancient religious order of Force wielders devoted to the dark side of the Force. So pretty straightforward. So they used it for selfish reasons, right? Also pretty straightforward. So you would assume that they use the same force, right? Um, yes, like with the dark side, there are like some extra abilities in terms of like fork lightning. I think I think some other stuff, and that they're able to use, and they're able to uh, and some set use magic or whatever. Yeah. Anyway, like different powers. That doesn't matter. But in terms of the force, I would figure the power was equal. So right, if you compare that. In terms of training, like fighting training, the uh, the Jedi were like straightforward, like you know, um, fighting basically academy, right? So they had certain styles, like pretty straightforward, right? With the Sith, they were a bit different. So it's possible they had the same training as the Jedi in terms of lightsaber training, but because Sith were so conniving in terms of like staying in the shadows, uh, like getting like Palpatine. He was in the shadows. He was getting things done. He was an assassin. He was this. He was that. Like like he was poisoning people. He was, like he was killing people like out of the shadows. So like the Sith, they don't have the kind of um the thought of like something being wrong in terms of like killing someone out of nowhere. Like with the Jedi, they serve on honor, basically honor system. The Sith don't. So I have to think who would be better in a fight then, because with the Jedi it's straight out fighting, right, with the lightsaber. But Sith, they have that, but they also have this conniving part, right? The this like surprise element. So you have to think, right? What's better? So that's a difficult one, kind of to answer. Um, and I think a lot of people actually have that question in terms of like who's more powerful. I don't think anyone actually has the answer. I think it boils down to rather maybe how powerful you are, maybe with the knowledge of the force, rather than how like what other elements kind of you have in addition to your knowledge of the Force, in my opinion. But I think the fact that they had the Sith had those extra elements, I think it outweighs the regular training of Jedi Knights in the temple, because when it comes to a fight, they were able to bring that to basically created a dirty fight, and then and I don't think Jedi were trained for that. So so that's an interesting element. So yeah, so that's my kind of take on who's better, Jedi and a Sith. I know it doesn't really answer who's better, not necessarily, and I think it's the kind of question every Star Wars fan will ponder, and I think like who's better, who's worse. I mean, obviously you want the Jedi to be more powerful, but I don't think the answer is that simple. You have to like think. I mean, obviously the strongest one is Luke Skywalker, but you have to like if you start thinking about more deeper, you kind of like start thinking about like these little details that kind of like make you question whether like a normal Jedi would actually win against like a Sith, like on the opposing like level Sith. So that's it's very questionable. So anyway, that's my thought. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Please like. Please comment. And tell me what you think about my thoughts on the subject matter. All right. Have a good day, everyone.